Hello, Dr. Holloway. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's an honor to be here. I'm really happy to be here with both of you today.
Oh, wonderful. We are going to talk about social isolation and what you have been doing in our communities. We love health and well-being in all areas and in all populations. So thank you for your contribution to North Dakota and to the United States in general. Before we go into any deeper, could you please introduce yourself to the audience and we'll move on with the conversation?
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Jeremy Holloway. I'm in the Department of Geriatrics. I focus a lot on social isolation and loneliness, social determinants of health, and really social connectedness and how important it is in healthcare, in hospitals, in nursing homes, assisted living communities, etc.
It's just amazing to hear that someone is doing this kind of work. I feel like one of the best parts of doing this collaboration with Grace is learning about the amazing work happening in the state. But I am just curious, how did you get started and why are you doing this? Why is it important?
Absolutely. Yeah. I started because around 2020, February, I defended my dissertation and all that, and it was great. Then March 2020, I heard about older adults who are socially isolated, alone. My chaplain friend was telling me about these older adults. They were dying from social isolation and loneliness. And I said, I have to do something about that. So I created a program. It's an intergenerational program. It is called Tellegacy, and it connects university students in healthcare fields with older adults who may feel a sense of social isolation and loneliness. And it's interprofessional, interdisciplinary. We've had nursing students, social work, public health. We've had med students involved in this program, and the students meet once a week over the phone or virtually, now in person. And we give to the older adult a book that summarizes the stories that they shared with the students.
Amazing. So you said 2020 you got started. Where did you start from? Because we know you are in North Dakota now.
Yeah, it started in Ohio. I graduated from the University of Toledo in Ohio and decided I would start there and reach out to different professors or students. And I actually worked with therapy students in counseling actually first. And then started to I reached out to the med school at the University of Toledo and started to recruit the students there, and it started to grow. So yeah, the first pilot was with just like 25 students to serving about 500 students and 400 older adults, giving them books. We've worked with about 42 different universities, over 40 different communities. When I say communities, I mean like nursing homes, assisted living communities, etc. And so it's been quite a journey.
I'm just sort of curious about the reception to the activities that you are trying to do. When you reach out to the nursing homes, those who are isolated, what is the overall reception that you get for your program?
That's a great question. A lot of the assisted living communities right away love what we're doing and want to be involved. The nursing homes, it can be tough sometimes because they have more limited, not resources, but the folks there need more care and may not have the type of, they may not be able to partake in just the kind of conversations, or they may, it depends. Because we have worked also with memory care communities, but it involves a different structure. So at the very foundation of what we do, it tends to work really well with assisted living communities and also just older adults that are living at home and want that social engagement, social interaction. There's many research, there's a lot of research showing the health disparities of older adults due to social isolation and loneliness. Social isolation and loneliness has been cited to having negative health effects equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and it causes a lot of ailments. So it's great to know that a lot of these organizations understand that already. I don't need to explain it much, and they do whatever they can to help these older adults engage with folks that are objective and willing to listen and hear the stories, because I'll talk about how important it is for the students, but for the older adults, these organizations do understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe let's go ahead and talk about how important it is for the students now. So can you describe that for us to understand?
Yeah, so you can almost name any healthcare major or department, and there's a limited amount of geriatric training that's provided, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. But then, unless they're in pediatrics, when they graduate, get out there in the real in the world to work, their clientele, the people they serve, end up being 80% or more older adults, and the training doesn't complement the amount of time that they're spending with a lot of these older adults, because these older adults need care that is very specific to what geriatric training would bring. And by the way, the geriatric training is most of the time technical. What they provide in med school, or whether it be public health or occupational therapy, social work, a lot of the training in geriatrics is more technical. Thankfully, there's starting to be more that focuses on the social side of it, because if we're going to be real, healthcare is a very, 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 very socially engaging career, and it's super social. Like when you're in the hospital, you're meeting with these people at very, very sensitive times in their life, right? When they're very socially vulnerable, and that there's studies showing that the emotional and social well-being of an individual is directly connected to their physical health and well-being. So, but the training that is provided currently doesn't complement that very much. So that's why we're really happy to help and provide this as an opportunity for students to receive this type of training.
And for those who are not familiar with the program, so what is the actual implementation of your program, like from the beginning to the end?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the students are matched with the older adults, and they connect and meet once a week for about 4 to 8 weeks, and then after that, we give to the older adult a book that summarizes the stories that they share, with the students, because we want to reinforce that the students really care, and that the older adults' stories matter, they matter, and their stories are one to be told. But one of the things that I definitely want to point out for people that are interested is, if they're interested, they can really just contact us, because what we like to do is really work with the organization, see where they're at. There's different levels of involvement that we can have, whether it be just giving them the trainings, etc., and then helping them to implement it by just giving them support, or we literally jump in and really help them do the matching of the students with the older adults, etc. It's very customizable.
So in terms of sustainability, I guess I'm just curious, because if you form this relationship with an individual for 4 to 6 weeks, and you're obviously doing great work here, what happens beyond that 4 weeks? Like, what has been the sort of like the long-term impact of this project?
Yeah, what we like to do is partner. There's a couple organizations called, like, there's one, Generations United. There's another one called United. We have different kind of students that come and participate through a course, or they may participate as an intern. And interns have to fulfill a lot more hours, so they may be available for a year, with the older adult. Then we just have student volunteers. These volunteers, sometimes I've had volunteers that have been in the program since their, freshman year. They've been on for like 4 years. That's where partnerships come in handy, that, really there are partnerships I mean, there are organizations that have just call it check-ins, when they just want to call and just have a conversation. Our program is very, I'm a curriculum guy, so, it has a curriculum and there's questions that are structured, and we want to get the story. So we have questions that'll help bring out that story, but there's programs that don't do all that, and they just have people that call and say, how's it going? And very open-ended, and so we like partnering with those kind of folks.
So moving forward, Hot Nest, what can we ordinary people do to contribute to what you already do and help with social isolation?
So one of the things that I like to encourage folks that are in healthcare, so we have the younger adults that are students. We call those legacy builders. They meet with the older adults. And then we have the older adults, right? They're engaged with the students. But then there's a lot of people in the middle. There's staff, healthcare staff, caregivers, et cetera, these type of folks who I like to call legacy coaches that can be involved. And if they've been in nursing for 20, 30 years, for example, they're not older adults, but they've been in healthcare for a long time. They can encourage these students that are preparing to get in the field and to be an encouragement to them. So there's a lot of individuals who we encourage to be legacy coaches. There's so many levels of getting involved, but if one wants to get involved with what we're doing, one of the things I'd say, reach out to me and we have a conversation, because I like to be strategic. So when it comes to someone contacting us, then I will have a conversation, see where are they at, where are they in the community, what are their passions, what do they really care about, and then we can really plug them in, because this social connection thing is everybody. It's a matter of everybody being involved and learning about it and getting engaged in one way or another, but starting from where they naturally shine is always a good thing, I think.
And what exactly is a legacy coach?
Yes, a legacy coach is a person that may have some experience in healthcare. They're not exactly younger student, and they're not an older adult. They're the person in the middle that may encourage a student or may encourage an older adult. And so we want those folks to be involved. And it's very open-ended, very general description for a reason, because there's a lot of different people in that middle area right there that maybe we've had a lot of folks reach out to us and say, we want to encourage, we just want to be involved in some way. Can I be a legacy builder? And to some degree they can, but it may be that it's better if they just encourage the students and help them navigate through the program. So a lot of times what I want to do is have them involved with the evaluation side of things, asking the students, how's everything going? How could things improve, et cetera? And then asking the older adults the same thing. How's everything going? Is there something that can be done, to make things better, and other things like that? The legacy coaches can also be involved in the creation of the legacy books as well. So the legacy coaches work on the back end to help make things happen. And that could be a whole plethora of things.
Is there any cost involved on the side of the students or the older adults or the organization bringing them together?
Yeah. So different organizations. So for example, here at UND, there's a Tellegacy here. That Tellegacy, if someone is involved in that Tellegacy, there is no cost. Outside of UND, there is. And the books are currently at, in the spring, going to start at $250. But to get involved is, we usually work on a business to business basis. So for example, we work with the universities, the departments, and if they want to adopt the program, then there's licensing, and then there's the cost of the legacy books.
That's fantastic. Well, I don't have any more questions. I don't know about you, Grace, but this was really informative. Like I said, I feel like it's just been such a learning experience to know about the great work that's going on in the state. And with the projections around like, the demographic changes, especially in the state of North Dakota, it feels like such an opportune time to be doing this. So thank you. And obviously thank you for sitting down with us, because this is really helpful.
Yeah, I actually want to explore how to work with your department more, because there's two areas, rural and indigenous, right? In those areas of rural and indigenous populations, we would like to really have this program here in North Dakota to show how do you engage as a community health promoting program. How do you engage with the indigenous population, and how do you engage with the rural population? Because I've heard that outside of North Dakota, people are really, how do I say, anxious, I guess, to see a program and to how to duplicate a program that is doing that. They need some kind of bright light or bright spot to show how can we help rural areas, especially these other like bigger cities that just they're not familiar with that rural engagement. But this is our time in North Dakota. This is kind of our opportunity to shine and to show like, hey, this is how we have engaged with rural areas, and this is how it's made a big difference. And I think that if you implement this over in your area, whether it be in North Carolina or Florida or wherever, this is where you can shine as well. So,
did you mention what they write in the book? Is it their personal stories? Do you have restrictions as to what people can share?
Yeah, we ask questions, and we don't ask questions like about their sexual life or things like that, but their spiritual life. Here's the thing, like in older age, a lot of older adults, whether they did in their past or not, they begin to become more interested in the spiritual areas of life.
Okay.
And if those things matter to them, then they matter.
That's fantastic. Well, since we're asking more questions, I guess I'm curious, in your experience to date, what has stood out to you in those books?
Oh man, there's so many. One of the things that I'm realizing is we're helping what the book is basically a summary of what matters to that older adult and what they want to bestow to their family members about what matters to them. What mattered to them in their childhood and in their preteens, teens, adult, etc. But yeah, a lot of romantic things, like how they met their spouse is really touching. The war, whether if they were in a war and how they overcame, and all those things is also stands out a lot. But then it's also just the little things that they enjoyed that mattered a lot to them. Those little things, and just the advice that they had for the students, but also for just life, right? One was just taking time to enjoy life. And one student said, she's been really busy in her studies and everything, and she realized, she could stop. It's okay to stop and enjoy and appreciate your life. You don't have to always be going to the next thing,
Okay, so I know you mentioned say, like older adults who are not, they may be living in a nursing facility or, somewhere else, like, can they actually just reach out to you directly, or are you just offering this as a curriculum?
So that's specifically for folks who are just at home and they need a community and they need help to, explore, to get through everything that they're doing as caregivers, and it's very hard. So we help to provide resources for them as well. And maybe there's folks that just want to, outside of UND, if people want to give to really support, Tellegacy.org, it's that's always encouraged as well. And so there's a lot of things I think people can do to just, so that's why I just encourage, hey, just email us. See, if you have a passion for this and you want to help in some kind of way,
Yeah, and the email address is your first name dot your last name at und.edu.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Do you have any final words to share? Anything on your heart you want to share to the people listening to us?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just want to reinforce that every older adult, their story matters. They matter. Their story is one to be told. And, you matter. Your story is one to be told, and to all those that are listening. And I think it's important that we explore and engage in what matters in our life. What are the things that we love? What are the things that we enjoy? Who are the people that we love? And to engage, because blue zones are areas where people have lived well over the age of 100, and they found that some themes are that social engagement, being involved with people that you love, making that impact, and being engaged in what really matters in your life. So I want people those things that matter, really, really matter to you in your life. So I encourage every person to do that now.
Well, like I said, obviously this is fantastic, and I definitely look forward to hopefully following up with you. And I'll have to talk to my friends over at Aging and hear what they have to say. But this sounds like an excellent program. So thank you for meeting with us and for sharing about the program. And I look forward to seeing where this goes.
100%. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me so much.
Okay.